Jacksonville Regional Airport, Saturday, 4:17 p.m. The suitcase hit the floor before she did. It slipped from the side of Cassidy Brennan's wheelchair, landed with a flat thud, and rolled a few inches toward the walkway. Travelers passed. Their wheeled bags clicked briskly over the polished tile, eyes darting toward gate numbers and boarding times. Nobody stopped. Cassidy didn't move, couldn't. Her fingers tightened on the armrests, tendons pale under her skin. She didn't lean forward, didn't ask. The twitch in her right hand, once a reflexive signal for help, stilled. She was long past asking. The assistant who had wheeled her here had vanished the moment she parked Cassidy near gate 12. Cassidy hadn't asked where she was going. She already knew. Somewhere quieter, away from the woman who ruined the optics of a perfect brand. Rain whispered against the tall glass windows, smudging the view of the horizon. A storm was coming, the kind that traps planes and exposes tempers. Warnings of delays were already scrolling across the departure screens. But Cassidy hadn't expected to be abandoned before boarding even began. Across the terminal, Lucas Grant tightened the strap of the backpack on his son's small shoulders. Aiden was 8 years old, all elbows, sneakers, and restless energy. His baseball cap was slightly too big, slipping toward his eyes. "Dad," Aiden whispered, tugging Lucas's sleeve. She dropped her bag. Lucas followed the boy's gaze. 10 feet away, a woman sat in a wheelchair, her suitcase tipped awkwardly on its side. She didn't look surprised. She didn't even look embarrassed. Just resigned. Lucas hesitated. He had a schedule. His son's tournament, his own work emails waiting. But some silences spoke louder than appointments. He stepped forward. Cassidy didn't look up as he crouched beside her suitcase, lifted it gently by the handle, and set it upright. "You've got a rebellious one here," he said lightly. Must have felt left out. Her head turned slightly. Her eyes, sharp and steady, met his. A quiet beat passed before she gave a single nod. No thanks, no performance, just acknowledgement. Lucas offered the kind of small, unintrusive smile people give when they don't want to make something bigger than it is. Then he glanced toward the windows. A draft from the glass crept down the aisle. "You're right in the path of that cold air," he said. "Want to move a little?" She didn't answer. But she didn't stop him either. Lucas stepped behind her chair and gently pushed it 3 feet to the left, under a warmer pool of light near a structural pillar. She still didn't thank him. She didn't need to. He nodded once and walked back to Aiden, who was waiting with both hands in his jacket pockets. They disappeared toward the far end of the terminal. Cassidy's gaze followed longer than she meant it to. She looked down at her phone. Unopened messages from her father's office blinked across the screen. She locked it and slid it into her bag. Outside, the rain picked up. Inside, the airport bustled. But Cassidy felt, just barely, less invisible. An hour later, Lucas returned alone. Aiden had been sent off with the team's supervising teacher, boarding passes clutched in small hands. Lucas had muttered about forgetting his coat and retraced his steps. Cassidy was still there, still in the warm lit spot he'd placed her in. Still alone. He grabbed his coat from the empty chair beside her and nodded politely. But this time, she spoke. "Do you always help strangers like that?" Her voice was soft but steady, not fragile, not bitter. It was the voice of someone used to being looked past, not spoken to. Lucas straightened. "Only the ones who drop their luggage in plain sight." Her lips curved faintly, somewhere between sarcasm and curiosity. "Thanks," she said quietly, "for not talking down to me." He sat in the next chair over, not too close. "You looked like you didn't want help," he said. "But needed it anyway." She turned her gaze back to the window. "That's most days. Your son?" she asked after a pause. Lucas nodded. "Aiden, 8 going on 80. You raising him alone?" "Yeah," Lucas said. "Since he was 3. Her eyes softened. "That's hard. Some days. Other days, it's the reason I keep moving." She looked at him, searching beneath his calm. "You ever get tired of pretending you've got it handled?" His jaw flexed slightly. "Every night." Silence settled, quiet, but not uncomfortable. "My fiancé left 3 days after my accident," Cassidy said suddenly. Her voice was even, but her fingers traced the seam of her sleeve. "He said he couldn't imagine a life where we couldn't hike again. Said he'd always remember who I used to be." Lucas didn't flinch. "That's not love." Cassidy's gaze stayed on her lap. I used to think I could fix it by being better, more positive. Now," she looked up, her eyes almost brittle. "Now I'm just tired of performing." "You're not a performance," Lucas said quietly. "You're a person." The faintest laugh escaped her, one of disbelief more than humor. "My father doesn't see it that way." Lucas glanced at her phone, which vibrated on her lap. She picked it up and showed him the screen. Media might be present at the gate. "Sit straight. Look engaged. Do not cry." Lucas exhaled. "They just need you to look okay. Not actually be okay." Something in her cracked, not broken, just letting light in. A single tear slipped free, and she didn't bother to hide it. Lucas didn't offer a tissue. He just stayed. And for the first time in years, Cassidy let her tears fall without shame. Minutes later, a boy running through the terminal tripped, hitting his head on the floor. The sharp sound froze the crowd. Lucas started forward, but Cassidy's firm voice stopped him. "Don't move him yet. Check his head. See if he responds." Lucas knelt beside the boy. "Hey, buddy, can you hear me?" The boy whimpered. His mother rushed over, panicked. "Look for swelling," Cassidy guided calmly. "If he vomits, call med staff." The boy clung to his mother, scared but alert. "No vomiting, no swelling, he'd be okay." Lucas returned, impressed. "That was fast thinking. I was halfway through med school before," she gestured at her chair. "Before everything changed. You dropped out. They said a disabled Brennan daughter treating patients wasn't ideal." "That's not failure," Lucas said. "That's sacrifice." Cassidy looked down. "You know what scared me most? That for a second, I remembered what it felt like to be useful." "You just saved a kid," Lucas said. "That's not nothing." She gave a brittle laugh. "Just talk to me like I'm still here sometimes." "I see you," he replied. Her phone buzzed again. Final boarding call for Brennan Jet, Gate 9. She flinched. Didn't answer. Lucas asked gently, "And what do you want?" "I don't know," she admitted. "Then maybe don't go anywhere until you do." For the first time in 2 years, Cassidy didn't move because someone told her to. She stayed. The black car never came. Or maybe it did, but Cassidy didn't look. Instead, she followed Lucas down a staff corridor, fluorescent lights, beige tiles, no cameras. A break room, vending machines, the scent of burned coffee. She opened the heavy fridge door herself, hand trembling, to grab a sandwich. It was a small victory, but it was hers. When her corporate card failed, she dug out her personal one, $13.71 left. Just enough. At the counter, a teenage attendant whispered, "You look happier in person." Cassidy blinked. "You've seen me. Press stuff. You looked frozen. Now you look real." Lucas's voice was steady. "She is." They sat in a forgotten corner near gate C14, half-lit and quiet. Cassidy bit into the awful sandwich and smiled. "God, this is terrible." Lucas grinned. "But it's mine," she added. "I picked it. I bought it. I reached for it." Cassidy handed her old colored pencils to a little girl whose only crayon was broken. The girl's face lit up like sunrise. Cassidy watched her color, feeling the faint pulse of her old self, the med student, the artist, the woman who didn't need a script to matter. Lucas watched her silently, something warm in his chest. "What's the plan after this coffee?" he asked. "I guess I'm still figuring that out," she said, then glanced at him. "You curious?" "Very." She pushed her wheels forward herself, unsteady but determined. "Let's see where this hallway goes." The evening stretched into soft gold and pink outside the terminal windows. Flights departed. Announcements blurred into background noise. Cassidy's phone buzzed again. "You've made enough of a scene. Get back on the plane before it becomes irreparable." She opened a new message and typed slowly. "I wasn't born to be your brand. I wasn't built for your schedule. I'm not a scandal waiting to happen. I'm your daughter who needed a father. And what I got was an itinerary." She hit send. No drama. Just closure. For the first time in years, her calendar was empty. By the massage chairs, Cassidy leaned back, eyes closed, sipping burnt coffee. Lucas sat nearby, tapping the edge of a quarter slot. They didn't speak until she cracked one eye open. "If I ever write a book," she said, "I'll dedicate a whole chapter to this chair." He chuckled. She turned her head toward him. "I haven't felt like a person in a long time. Not since the accident. Not since the board voted me out. Not since people started whispering when I rolled past. But today, Lucas prompted. She nodded. Today, I remembered what it felt like to be seen. You were never invisible, he said. Maybe just misfiled. She smiled. A real one. Outside, the storm had passed. Wet pavement gleamed under streetlights. Cassidy gripped her wheels. Can we walk side by side? Lucas nodded. Together, they moved toward the exit, no longer savior and survivor, no longer CEO's daughter and widower. Just two people stepping into the unknown. Some people enter your life with promises, schedules, expectations. Others arrive quietly, stay by choice, and change everything without asking for credit. Lucas didn't fix her. Cassidy didn't complete him. But on a rainy Saturday in Jacksonville, they showed up.